In today's video, I'm going over my Audible review and I'm going over the 5 reasons why I think they're the best place to go online for audiobooks. Now, I've been using Audible for about 4 years now, and I love it because I've got a family of 5 and it is really hard to just find the time to be able to read. But listening to audiobooks really helps me to multitask because I can listen to books while I'm on my commute, or I can listen to books while I'm cleaning the house. And that way I can actually read books while I'm doing the stuff that has to get done anyways. Now, if you just stumbled across this channel, I'm Jason with Honest Finance, and I make a lot of videos on different topics that'll give your life and your finances more value. So if you are interested in this type of content, feel free to subscribe or at least give this particular video a like. Now, I'm not going to elaborate much on why we all need to read more, but according to the research, the average self-made millionaire reads more than 2 books a month. And trust me, if there was no such thing as an audiobook, I'd probably only read about 1 book a year. Now, why do I prefer Audible over all the other platforms? Well, like I said earlier, I'm going to go over the 5 reasons why I prefer to use Audible over the other guys, and then you guys can make your own decision as to whether or not you actually want to use Audible. Now, the first reason I love Audible is because it's mainly a subscription service, but it's got a little bit of a twist in the way that they do things. Now, I'll explain here how Audible works because it's super simple and it's really unique. They're owned by Amazon, so all you have to do is open up an account using your existing Amazon account, and then they'll give you book credits every month that you can redeem for any book in their ginormous library. Now, if you've got a subscription for music like iTunes or Spotify, then you already know what happens when you unsubscribe, which is the fact that you don't get to keep anything. But Audible doesn't work like that because once you redeem a credit, you get to keep the book forever, even if you cancel with them. And this is just freaking awesome because every single book that I own with Audible is mine to keep forever, and they're all backed up by their ginormous cloud. Audible starts at about $15 a month, and that'll get you 1 credit per month on that plan. And that is really good because if you look at just one Harry Potter audiobook, those are over $30. Now, the $15 plan is only worth it if you're just into 1 book a month. But if you want more than that, they've got other options that are an even better value. You can pay an upfront yearly fee of $230 and they'll give you 24 credits, which ends up being less than $10 a book. Or you can pay an upfront $150 and they'll give you 12 books for that option. So if you've got the cash up front, these options are the best because they'll give you all the credits at once and you don't have to wait for them to roll out every single month. So if you want to get all your books right now and you want to get the best value from Audible, then I would definitely go with the yearly fee. They also have another monthly plan that's only $23 a month that'll give you 2 credits, and that's the one that I like because 2 books is plenty for me. And sometimes I'll unsubscribe just so that I can take a break and catch up on my reading because Audible doesn't have a contract. You can just cancel any time with them and then you can re-sign up whenever you're ready to and everything will be as it was. And seriously, when you consider how much audiobooks cost on their own, Audible is a very good source to get your audiobooks at a really good value. And the really cool thing with Audible is that if you're a new subscriber with them, they'll actually give you 2 free audiobooks just for signing up. I put a link in the description, so if you want to try them after the video, then go ahead and just click the link. Now, if you do get the 2 free books and then you decide that you don't want to be with Audible anymore, you still get to keep those 2 books because they're yours forever. You'll always have access to the books you've redeemed, even if you're not subscribed. Now, the second reason I use Audible is because their books are actually cheaper for subscribers if you want to just buy a book on its own without using a credit. Usually the credits are worth using on a book, but if I find one that's only like $5, then it's obviously not worth wasting a credit on it, so I'll just buy it on its own. Or sometimes I might really want a book right now, but I don't have any credits, so in that case I'll just buy a book, but it's always a better value if you're a subscriber. Anybody can buy a book on Audible, which is always going to have really competitive prices, but the prices are always going to be the best if you're a subscriber. They also have a newer feature which allows members to get 2 of their original series books, and then sometimes they'll throw in a random pre-selected book that you can just get for free. The original series stuff is cool because they have a lot of content to choose from, but me personally, I've never really been interested in any of the topics that they offered. But whenever they've had their pre-selected books, those are pretty cool and I've used that feature before. One time they had the Tim Curry version of A Christmas Carol, which was an awesome audiobook that they offered because my family loves listening to it over the holidays. But a couple months ago they offered Emma, but that didn't interest me at all, even though it was still a free book. Obviously, some of their pre-selected books are going to be better than others, but that's all just a matter of opinion based on the type of reading that you like to do. But if you're the type that likes to read just about anything, then having these features on Audible is worth it because it's just more free content. And another cool feature for subscribers is that sometimes Audible will actually give you huge discounts on a bunch of bestseller books. So for just being a subscriber, you'll get your monthly credits, you'll get your free content, and you'll sometimes get the huge discounts on bestsellers. Now, the next reason I use Audible is because if you find a book that you don't like, you can return it. Now, I just barely got the book called The Power of Habit, and I wasn't really digging it because the beginning of the book just kept going on and on about smoking and about rat studies, so I returned it. Now, it's really cool that Audible lets you do this because whenever I buy a movie and I don't like it, I can't just return it like you can on Audible. But you've got to understand that Audible offers this feature for honest book readers and that their policies do change all the time. You have to pretty much talk to a rep every time that you want to return a book, but as long as you're not abusing the system, you can return about 3 a year. But don't hold my words accountable because, like I said, the policies change all the time, but in my experience, if I've wanted to return a book, I can do that with Audible. Now, the next reason I prefer to use Audible is because their app is actually really good for mobile reading. I've got some audiobooks that I bought on iTunes, and the cool thing about the Audible app is that you can actually download the books straight from iTunes into the Audible app so that all your books are just in one place. I've also noticed when you listen to books over Bluetooth in your car, if you push the track forward or the track back button, it only moves at 30 seconds, which is a really good thing. Now, I'm saying this is a good thing because if I use iTunes in my car and I hit the track back button, it actually starts the entire chapter over, which is really annoying. And if you do want to listen to books at different speeds, you can just do that right through the app so that you can cruise through your books a lot faster. Now, if you want to be extra safe while you're driving, you can put it into car mode, which will make everything as simple as possible. The app is also really good at remembering where you left off in a book. So if you switch back and forth between a whole bunch of different books, it's going to remember that so that the next time you start reading, it just starts where you want it to. And just so you're aware, the books are downloadable, so you don't have to rely on the internet in order to read your books. And I'll also mention that their wish list is really handy too, because if you find any book that you want, you just throw it into the wish list, and then you can access it anywhere and find them really easily. Now, the last reason that I use Audible is because they let you preview books before you buy them, and they've got the largest selection of audiobooks that I've ever seen. Being able to preview a book before you buy it is a big deal because if the narrator sucks, then you can just look for another one. Now, all the competitors let you preview books as well, but the big difference with Audible is that they've got such a huge library of books that you can actually look for the same book with different narrators to find the one that you want. I mean, seriously, there hasn't been a single time where I couldn't find the book that I was looking for through Audible. Now, just remember that if you're a new subscriber to Audible, they'll give you 2 free books just for signing up. Once again, I put the link in the description, so if you want to click it and get your free books, then go ahead and do that. That's how I first started using Audible, because when I first signed up, I just got 1 free book, but I quickly realized that it was something that I wanted to keep in my life. It's really hard to argue that Audible isn't worth at least trying because you're going to get the 2 free books and you're going to get 30 days worth of all the other perks as well. Now, that is my personal review of Audible, but I want to know what features you guys like, so let me know in the comments if I forgot anything or if you agree with anything that I said. Once again, I'm Jason with Honest Finance, and I make a lot of videos on different topics that'll give your life and your finances more value. So if you are interested in this type of content, feel free to subscribe or at least give this video a like. That's all.